and welcome to Life with Jane. I'm doing the supper dish again, so I thought I would, before I got too far into it, I would let you join me. So this is, it's been in the freezer. It was a reduced 55p short crust pastry. I quite often make my own pastry, as you know, but you can buy it so cheaply. And I've just got a flan case and I've just put it across here. Now there's going to be more than enough. Now, little tip, when you are doing any form of pastry, always put it on your hand, take your knife, and you are going to angle the knife like that, and you're going to cut round it. Now I've got to cut round it at this angle, so you're going to angle the knife and have it up in the air, because then it allows for the shrinkage. So when I get round to here, you'll see I've got the knife at that angle and I'm just literally taking it round. I can turn it round as I go. I need to do it so I can actually see what I'm doing. So hopefully you can see some of that. As I say, some of it is because I haven't got it in front of me. I was trying to do it so you could see it. So you're going to literally just take it round, and you can see that it is, rather than cutting it straight across the top, if you cut it at an angle, you will then have quite a lot spare. Now we're going to do more than one thing because we've got all of this pastry over. This has got to be what they call blind baked. So you need to put it in the oven first of all, which I've got preheated at gas mark 5, 180 degrees centigrade. Now I am just going to just put this in like this. Now you can put all sorts of dry things in here if you want to. I'm literally just going to take the pastry or the cover, and I'm literally just going to put that in like that. Okay, you don't need to put loads of beans and things like that on there. You can do, but all you're doing is you want the pastry to just cook a little bit on the inside. So I'm just going to bob that in the oven. Now I could put, what could I put on there? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I've got this little dish that's the inside of one of the baking things, and I'm just going to pop that in on the center, which will weigh it down. So you don't need to use anything special at all. I'm literally just going to put that in on here like that. I am going to keep that across because what I want to do is I want to cook the pastry, but I don't want to brown the outside. So if I do it like that and just tuck that in and just put that straight into the oven, that will, while we're doing the other bits, that will just blind bake nicely. Okay, so I've got this pastry left over. You can see I've got a little bit of broccoli on there, but that's because I was, there we go, I was doing some broccoli bits, and I thought for the filling of this quiche, traditional quiche is bacon and onion and cheese. So that's the traditional one. Now I'm going to have to use my rolling pin. So let's get the rolling pin out, and I'm going to make some small ones as well. So let me just get a little bit of flour. Don't need a lot. I'm just going to get a little bit of flour out, and then I can just flour the surface just a little bit so it's not going to stick. Should be actually okay. So I'm going to take one bit at a time actually, because there's quite a bit on here, isn't there? So, and I'm going to do it flat like this, because what I don't want to do is for it to get tough. So if you do it so that you're building layers, so can you see like that, I'm just doing a layer. I can then take that and then roll it out, and it's not going to get tough. So I just want to roll this out, and as I say, I'm not worried about the little bits of broccoli stalk on there because it was on my surface and I didn't take it out very well. What have I got on there? Got something on there that's making a mark. So let me just roll this out. Whoops. So again, I don't want it to be too, and I might try doing these ones in the air fryer. So that'll do on that. Now I've got these that I do my bread in, and I can get a small one and I can get a big one into the air fryer. So if I do, let me have a look on here. It's probably a little thick, but it should be all right, I think. So let's see if I can get one in. It's quite deep. Do I do it in that one, or do I do it in a... Oh, I'm faffing about now, aren't I? I do want to do it in this actually, but it's actually quite deep, so I'll have to do it in like this and poke it down the bottom. So what I don't want to do is let's just take it that way. That should work it. I can take it up on the edge like that, can't I? That should be fine. It's not absolutely perfect, but it doesn't matter because these are just extra ones and I can pop them in the freezer. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing. Just take the pastry off of there. Got a bit of a big bit in there, but that doesn't matter. I'll just smooth it across. So that'll do as one. And then we'll have this one for the next one. As I say, I always, if you just put it up like that, then you can roll it out quite easily. It's actually very soft pastry. Mind you, it is slightly warmer today. Just put a little bit of flour on here. Want to get this one up to the right size on here. And as I say, the pastry I will do blind, and as I say, these ones I'm going to do in the air fryer, so we'll just have to see how they cook. That's a small one, so that can go in there. As I say, they're fairly, my nails are a bit long at the moment, so let's see if I can just pop this in here. I don't want to burst the bottom. Oh, that's not very good, is it? Let's bring that across a bit. They're deeper than you'd imagine on here, so I just need to take it in first of all and then pop it down. There we go. That'll do. What we're hoping to do is to do, just take it round a bit. I'll just do some patching in here because that's not going to go right up to the top, is it? And as I say, these don't have to be perfect because they're literally just your little bits that are over. In fact, I could have, whoops, I could have made a big one because there's quite a lot of pastry over, but I'm not going to, so let's just take a little piece of this and we can just patch that in like that. There we go. As I say, I'm not overly fussed at how it's going to turn out. Okay, so that's 2, and then I'm going to do the other 2 exactly the same way, and then I will be back with you once I've done all of them, and then we can get ready for the filling to go into the quiches, and we'll go through the vegetables and things. Okay, so I'll be back in a minute to show you the rest. So I've just taken it out of the oven. It's very, very hot, so the parchment paper obviously had grease on it from the fat, but you can see that that has now cooked through. It's got a little bit brown on that side, but that side is perfect. So that will ensure that you don't have what they call a soggy bottom. The last thing you want when you're doing pastry is to have a soggy bottom. So this is lovely at the bottom. Now what we're going to do, let me just move this to one side now because it is very hot, but that's fine. And then what we're going to do is, oh, in fact I can do this first. Okay, so I need to put, let's bring that back here, I need to put my filling in. Now I'm doing a broccoli and red onion. So in the pan I have just cooked, I've allowed it to get cool because you don't want it to be too hot, otherwise it will melt the pastry at the bottom. So I've got some broccoli, some red onions and some garlic, and that's going to go into the bottom. You can put whatever you want really, but this is quite a nice filling for a quiche. So you can put salmon, you can just have cheese and onion. So this is going to be the cheese and onion. That's my air fryer going off. I think I might have made a bit of a boo-boo on these, the ones in the air fryer, because I think they've shrunk down a bit too much, but I'm sure I'll be able to do something with them. Okay, so I can now put this across the bottom and just spread it out evenly. So we've got some filling for every slice, just like that. And you can see it's cool, because what I don't want, as I say, is it to melt through. Okay, now I'm going to move that out of the way. This is still hot because obviously it's just come out of the oven, and my oven is still on. So let me just move this out of the way without burning myself. Just put that on there. And then what we need is, I have got 1/4 pint of milk, and I need 3 eggs. So I've got 3 eggs, and I just need to beat them up. So let's put these eggs in here. 1, 2, 3. 3 eggs. Isn't it interesting? They've got different coloured yolks. One was from the last batch of eggs, and the others from the new eggs. So we need to just give that a good whisk, and you want it to be really whisked in well. So and then we need to season it nicely. So okay, now that's my 1/4 pint of milk. Need to mix them in together, don't I? Do I put them in that one? Yes, I'll put them in that way. So that's my 1/4 pint of milk. Mixed in nicely. Okay, now we need to put some seasoning. So I'm going to I'm just taking my other 2 out while I'm at it, and then I can put the others. This is going to be, it's not going to work as I was going to do it, and I'm going to do it slightly differently. So let me just put these in just for 5 minutes in the air fryer, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that at the end. I'm not going to show you at the moment because, as I say, it didn't work in the air fryer. Everything's contracted, but that's fine. I'm going to do something different with it. Okay, so we want some salt and some pepper. So I've got my salt, so just some salt. I've got it on the grinder, so obviously you don't get quite as much as you would if you're doing it in there. And some pepper. Like that. And then I want some mixed herbs, because I think mixed herbs are really quite nice in a quiche. So probably about a teaspoon, like that. However much you want, and you can put any other flavourings and things in there. So I'm just gonna mix these up first. Because it's dry herbs, it takes a little bit for them to mix in. Just whisk gently and it will all incorporate nicely. And then before we pour it in, because as soon as we pour it in we need to put it into the oven, so that should be fine. Now all I need to do is I want to do a couple of ounces of cheese. So I get my grater to get my cheese. Now I like a very strong cheese, so I get the extra mature because that to me tastes the best. Now I have to use little scissors and things to open everything because I can't, my hands, as you know, are not particularly strong, so I use various gadgets and things. Let's just put this out of the way for a minute. Oh, I missed my salt and pepper. So I just need to cut myself a little piece of this cheese off, then I can grate it. And as I say, a couple of ounces or whatever you want for taste. I'm just going to cut quite like it cheesy, so about that amount, which, as I say, I think is probably a couple of ounces. It's, as I say, it's entirely up to you. How much you put on there is really down to you. So just put that back in the fridge, and then I'm just going to grate this up. What have I got on there? Let me just get a cloth. It's only going to be from the pastry because that's the only thing that I've had on there. So I'm just going to wipe that down, and I've got a little bit of salt and pepper, which is fine. So I'm just going to grate it straight onto here. do it on the bigger one, then I can get it out nicely. And as I say, this, you can do quiches with whatever you really want. So, you know, you can do salmon, you can do, say broccoli, you can do bacon, you can just do cheese and onion. It's a great one for using up little bits and pieces that you've got. So you can do Stilton, you know, after Christmas time. Cranberry and Stilton's really rather nice. So you just sort of smear a bit of cranberry on the bottom and then use the Stilton, which is quite salty, over the top. As I say, whatever you want. And some people call it egg and bacon pie, but traditionally it's called quiche Lorraine, and quiche Lorraine is done with the I need to put this onto something, don't I, because I'm going to go and fill it in there. That wasn't probably the best idea to do it straight on there, but it'll be fine. So let me just put the cheese on there, and then what I'll do is try and get some of that up on there like that. It's probably off of camera, but you don't really need to see me just doing that. Collect the cheese up. So that's the cheese. Now I might not use all of it, we'll have to see. I've just grated that amount. So let's take the flan, which is warm, but it's cooled a little bit now, and I have got the filling. So let's just pour that filling in over the top. Like that. Then I'm going to put the cheese. And as I say, I don't think I need all of it. Just going to put it in, and then I'm just going to, with my fork, make sure that the cheese is just underneath rather than on top, otherwise it'll just sort of melt a bit, but that's going to be nice, just like that. Okay, now I have got, which is I've just thought, that will add a little bit of, yes I have, I've got I've got a couple of tomatoes, but one tomato will be enough to just add a little bit of colour to it. I'm just going to slice a tomato and put that on top. So let me just find, have I just put, I had my knife, didn't I? Because I was chopping my, you wouldn't have known, yes, here we go. I was chopping my onions and my broccoli earlier on, so just in. I've just cleaned that off now. Okay, so let's just move this to the side for a minute, and then I need to do it fairly quickly, but what I want to do is to do just little slices. Whoops, let's help if you have it. I want them fairly thin. And this is why I said, you know, it's a supper dish and you can use whatever you want in there. So I'm trying to use up little bits and bobs that I've got that are over. Just trying to get this bits of the tomato, because I want them in nice sort of rings so that they look pretty. And they're not going to come all over in rings because I haven't sliced it that way, but we should be okay. Let's have a look and see. So let's put that one in the middle like that. Are we, can you see? Let's bring you down this way a bit so you can see. So one in the middle, and I'll have one that side, one that side, one that side, on that side like that. And I think that that'll be fine. I'm not going to use the other, the top and the tail. I'll use that in the other thing that I'm going to show you. Okay, so that now goes in the oven for 20 minutes. I'll let you know when I bring it out, but I think probably about 20 minutes, not too long. So let me just get this in the oven now. I need to turn it around that way, so that, because my oven is hotter one end than the other. There we go. Right, that's in the oven like that. Now, these, the pastry bits, have not come out very well at all actually, but I'm sure I can do something with them. So, you know, I sort of put them in. I think because they're in a metal dish. Now that's the first ones that I did. Can you see how they've all just sort of sunk down? So I'm hoping that I can take them out. Yes, they're going to come out okay. So that's fine. I'm just loosening them up a little bit. And these ones are hot because they've literally just come straight out. But I'm just making sure that because I didn't grease this or anything, I just sort of did it. And that's fine. They should come out because they're, see, that's just stuck just a little bit. So let me just get my tea towel up again and take those out. So they're a bit sort of scrunchy, but that doesn't matter that much, I don't think. There we go. That's on the bottom. And then that's the other one. Like that. And you can see they've, that's fine. So they haven't stayed as they should have done, but I think we can do something quite exciting with them. So I've got the leftover bits of cheese. So I'm literally just going to put some cheese in the centre. Because there's going to be enough to go in here. I'm just popping it in. And as I say, you know, there are, as far as I'm concerned, there are never complete disasters. This was just, as you know, with the little scrappy bits that were left over. So everything is a bonus. And as I say, they'll make a nice little lunch snack dish. So, you know, don't waste anything. Just use what you've got. So a little bit of cheese. Now, I've got... I can put that piece of tomato over there, that piece of tomato over there, and this one is going to be cut because I want it to go onto both of them. So we'll have that like that, because I don't want the cheese to spread everywhere. So putting that on top, then I'm just going to put them straight back in the air fryer for, which ones are, oh, they've all cooled down a bit, just for probably 5 minutes, something like that. Yeah, it's in for 5 minutes. So we'll be back again when I've finished this to show you the results, so you can see how lovely they all are. Right, so I've just taken the quiche out of the oven. It's still bubbling, but it's lovely and crispy around the side, which I don't mind at all, but it won't be soggy on the bottom. And these are the little puffs, and again, lovely, show you on the bottom of, without the reflection, lovely on the bottom and crispy, and as I say, with a little bit of cheese. So that's an extra bonus lunchtime supper dish. That's the quiche. Now I'm going to have some for tea, so I am going to put some onto a plate. So let's move this across a bit so I can slice put a slice in, and it might be a little bit too warm actually. You should wait for it to cool down a little bit, but I think I should be all right. So let's just take it down through on the centre. Obviously I need a sharper knife to go through onto the tomato. I'm just going to tuck that tomato off a bit actually. Take it in like that. Take it in across on here. Oh, it's very hot. Should probably have done a smaller slice, shouldn't I? But there's me. Right, I'm going to get a little slice thing to slice this up so that it doesn't all break, because it's lovely and crumbly. You can never find, here we are, that's what I'm looking for. I want a little slice like that, so let's see if I can get this up this way. It's very, very hot. Ooh. As I say, I would normally let it cool down just a little bit because it is it's quite warm. It's going to break in the centre, isn't it? But there we go. That's come out beautifully. I've got the tomato in the centre. I'm not going to cut that up, but you can see on there how delicious that is. Sorry, taking it off on there. How delicious that is. And then let's just take one of these, and let's move this out of the way because that really does need to cool down a bit. And I'm going to take one of these ones. Let's take the little one. I don't want a really big one. Put that on the plate as well. Move my quiche over, and then I can just, oh yes, that's quite nice and crispy. Let's take that into a quarter. So that you've just got your little bit of cheese in there like that, and munch, 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 munch. That is absolutely delicious. So, lovely quiche dish. Extra little bits and pieces. Hope you enjoyed that. As always, please stay safe and well. Please be kind, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye bye.